Okay, so I am now back from SI 2025, which means I can finally talk about the Year 10 cinematic. I'm sure you've all seen it, but if you haven't, go watch it. I'm not going to play it here. Rather, we're going to be doing an analysis and breakdown, as well as an explanation. If you're excited for Siege X and the future of Rainbow Six lore, then make sure you hit that sub button. I'll have everything coming your way. And although I'm not just going to play the cinematic again, I am going to play the thing they had before this, where it had Deimos recapping the recent lore. Because it's really cool, and I'm sure there's a bunch of you who missed this part.
You thought you had me. You've been chasing the wrong questions. You can ask why until your last bullet is spent. But that won't change what happened. I saw a path to a better world. One that Bogart and the rest of Rainbow refused to follow. So I did what had to be done. As for Curie, well, she deserves better than to waste her second chance with you. You thought you were onto something in Greece. But you only saw what I wanted you to see. I was already inside your house before I even stepped foot on this space. It begins and ends with recruits. Carrie's forced you to bring in new blood. And that was my way into your ranks. I broke your standing with the Oversight Committee. I tore down Hereford. I destroyed your reputation. And the questions you were too blind to ask were answered for you. This is how Rainbow dies.
So, this cinematic begins right after the climax of the assault on Hereford base event. Now, the base has been completely destroyed, just like what we see happen in the event itself. In this, we see wolfguard leader Doc walking through the ruins of Hereford, with viperstrike leader Hibana commentating over it. We then cut to Hibana herself, who finds Dokubi's glasses amongst the rubble of Hereford. An operator whose fate we'll learn about later in this cinematic, and there's a lot more about Dokubi, which we'll get into later in this video, because this has actually been set up over the past year. And I think it's quite important to note as well that the person finding Dokubi's glasses is Hibana, who is Dokubi's captain. We then cut to a building in the middle of a city, which one of my viewers managed to identify as the Polish city of Wrocław, which was the birthplace of both Ella and Zofia, as well as the location of the cancelled Year 2 Polish map. That is pretty interesting to think about. Well, speaking of the Bosak sisters, we get to see one of them, Ella, protecting this woman. This continues with Hibana talking about Rainbow, which is our first hint of Rainbow and Nighthaven working together once again, as Ella is a Nighthaven agent. Now, I want to talk about this woman they are protecting for a minute because we don't really know her identity, but considering this is taking place in the hometown of both Ella and Zofia, there is a chance that there could be some relation here, or this could be a GSAC member. But something which is quite important to add as well is the fact that this mission, which Ella and eventually Zofia joins into, are on, is most likely some of the intel which Dokubi was able to find, and it was a bunch of these different wild goose chases and spreading Rainbow thin, so then the Carey's Legion could attack Hereford head on. Because we then get to see a different mission where Sledge alongside another Nighthaven agent Smoke are also working alongside each other. This was the next hint that Rainbow and Nighthaven are now working together once again, especially with the info in the battle pass from Callie talking to Smoke, telling him that it's time to suit up. It's been building up for a while now, and it's finally reached its point. I mean, remember I said that Brava and Hibana made their way to Singapore to follow one of these leads in which Dokubi found when she hacked into the Carey's Legion's database? There's a high possibility that Hibana and Brava made contact with Nighthaven's base in Singapore, gave them all the intel about all these different attacks which seemingly are planned around the globe, and just like Callie said, now's their time to get involved. Hence why Ella is deployed in Poland by Nighthaven and then joined by Rainbow Zofia, working together, as well as seeing the reunion of the sisters. We also get to see Sledge and Smoke, both coming originally from the SAS, one on Rainbow and one on Nighthaven. There's probably a chance that they are somewhere else in the UK away from Hereford right now. I imagine Zofia and Ella were sent to Poland since they probably know it better than anyone else, especially Wrocław, so it seems like this could potentially be the same case with Sledge and Smoke being deployed to somewhere they are more familiar with than other operators. And we get to see the switch between this thing happening with Ella and Zofia Zofia and this thing happening with Sledge and Smoke, just to show the reach of the Keres Legion and the fact that Rainbow is here to fight terror wherever it is in the world. Now, we see different variations of Keres soldiers in this cinematic, as well as seeing Smoke wearing a Nighthaven patch on his shoulder, showing that he is still part of Nighthaven, and that Nighthaven are working alongside Rainbow once again. So, when it comes to the Polish operation we're seeing here, they are protecting a VIP, or just a hostage in general. But when we switch to the one where Sledge and Smoke are present, we can see the Keres Legion are transporting gear and ordnance with the name of a new company we've never seen before called Polaris, and are seemingly going to be playing a part going forward, whether they are part of the funding of the Keres Legion or are a subsidiary company of the Keres Legion, which is used as a front for the business and passed off as something legitimate, whereas it's actually the Keres Legion using it to transport their gear and ordnance. But to the general public, it just looks like a normal company. But I think a big thing this trailer is showing off as well is the importance of our operators working together. Just like what Hibana says, putting aside our differences, Ella and Zofia working together again. United they stand, divided they fall. And I may be looking a bit too much into this, but I feel like there is a bit of visual storytelling here when it comes to Smoke, Sledge, as well as Nook, who joined in the battle, which this is the reintroduction of Nook into the story after her hiatus during the Nighthaven fallout, which eventually led to the whole Keres Legion rise. But we see Smoke and Sledge working together to take down these Keres soldiers, Nighthaven and Rainbow working together, but these are also two British soldiers. After they are pinned down and injured from a grenade, they are saved by Nook. And what I'm saying here is it's showing all the elements which have to come together that makes Rainbow Rainbow. It's not just two British special forces, you have a Danish Jaeger Corps operator as well. It's not even just being in Rainbow, it's these relationships and these friends and these people in Nighthaven who they've worked alongside with and care about, represented as Smoke. All three of these elements with nationality, background, organization coming together to stop the Keres Legion, and they are truly stronger as one unit. We also get to see a new 6 badge on a lot of operators as well, which has always been a bit of a hot topic in the Rainbow Six Siege lore community because the official in-game logo for Team Rainbow is this. Then this other logo of the 6 with the gun in it is the logo of the franchise, not the in-game logo for Rainbow, because the 6 has always been represented as Harry, for example, or the director of Rainbow. Rainbow is the team, 6 is the leader. And although there are many different occasions in the past where the logo has been used technically incorrectly by using the franchise logo instead of the canonical team logo, this new 6 logo I feel has actually been used on purpose and is something which is actually grounded in the lore itself. Because a major part of the story ever since the death of Harry is the fact that no one has replaced him. There has been no 6 leading Rainbow since then. You have all the operators working together, you have the squad leaders managing different operators, and just like Harry said, it is their unit. So I don't see them using this new 6 logo as a mistake of them using the wrong logo in universe. I have a feeling that this is a new internal representation of Rainbow operators themselves. They are all 6. This is their squad, this is their honor. One of the biggest criticisms Ash had of Harry was the fact that him and other politicians and all these other people who are overseeing Rainbow and calling shots are never the ones pulling the trigger. So all these operators are playing the role of 6 themselves. Not only are they the ones calling the shots, they're the ones pulling the trigger. That's how I personally interpret the new 6 logo in universe. We also get to see Ella and Zofia using a gas pipe to kill 2 Keres soldiers and make their way out of this building with their VIP, showing the adaptability which Rainbow have and embracing different design elements and the environment to take down their enemies. We cut back to the ruins of Hereford where we see Doc continuing to walk this wasteland, and he actually finds Lion, who is in the rubble. Using his stim pistol, Doc helps get Lion back on his feet, and they share a really nice moment, which this cinematic is full of. You of course have the reunion of Ella and Zofia, but you've got Doc and Lion as well. 2 operators who were stated to originally have hated each other prior to either of their times on Rainbow, who are now extremely close and have put aside their differences of the past, representing everything Hibana is speaking of. I really like this post on Twitter by Jacko where they showed this battle pass info from the wolfguard charm for Lion, where he says, "We all want to make a difference. That's obvious. I'm willing to put my life on the line now to make sure Alexis has a future. That's Lion's son. If I don't come home one day, I know Kadeb, which is Doc's surname, will make sure my son is okay. He promised." So keeping that little battle pass quote in mind and just this character moment between Doc and Lion really just goes to show how impactful of a scene that is and how honestly heartbreaking it could have ended if Doc didn't intervene. This is when it also shows us a bunch of operators coming together, including Nighthaven operatives, which does back the theory that the mission which Ella and Zofia were on, as well as the one with Sledge, Nook, and Smoke, took place before or around the time the assault on Hereford happened, because remember I was saying these were ploys by the Carries Legion to stretch Rainbow thin, so this would be these operators now coming to the base after the assault happened and assisting in the cleanup and rescue. Now here is the big money shot of this cinematic. Not only is this the big money shot for the cinematic itself, this is the big money shot for Rainbow Six Siege's identity and its brand going forward. They are embracing the grit. They are embracing the fact that this is something different. This is meant to be dark. They understand what direction and art style and path they want to take this game, and this just shows it completely right here. They didn't choose some fancy bright background. They didn't show a nice happy moment. They showed the destruction of Rainbow's HQ. They showed these operators coming together, whether that's through family links, through brotherhood, through skill, through compassion, all these things which make Rainbow Rainbow. You see the 4 Rainbow squad leaders as well, with Captain Habana, Thermite, Kavera, and Doc. Just like what Habana says, they are all Rainbow. And of course, we move into the final scene of this cinematic where we see Phobos of the Carries Legion, first introduced as a voiceover in the Assault on Hereford event, who currently has Dokkaebi in his captivity, saying that it's time to move into phase 2. Now, Dokkaebi being captured here is massive, and it's something which has actually been set up over the past few seasons. To begin with, Dokkaebi went on that mission in Greece alongside Skopos. She is the one who hacked into the Carries Legion's database. Now, when Kure confronted Gerald on Hereford base, Gerald sussed out that it was the South Korean girl who managed to extract that info, showing an interest in her. This probably got some of the cogs in Deimos' head turning, and he hatched a new part of his plan. Most likely doing it via a compromised recruit, he managed to get the message to Phobos that part of this assault on Hereford will require Dokkaebi to be captured and her expertise most likely used and exploited. There has to be something which she can do that they need her for, because if not, they would have killed her. That is how Deimos has always lived by, clearly. He even called the operators cowards for not killing him on the Emerald Plains. Dokkaebi's expertise are needed for the Carries Legion for an intention we don't yet know. But this seems to be a big part of the story going forward, even mentioned in Raora's bio, which I'm going to be focusing on in a different video, and then we're going to bring everything together for a big year 9 going into year 10 video. There's so much that's going to happen here, so much to talk about. But yes, that was my first initial breakdown of the brand new year 10 cinematic. There's probably so much more we can dwell over and talk about as well, so this is just a first impression of it and first look at it. Of course, it should be mentioned that there is no word of Deimos in this cinematic, so we can assume that he's still in Rainbow's custody, but of course Phobos still has Dokkaebi, so there's probably going to be some, hostage bargaining there as well. A lot of stuff can come from this. If there's any other things you saw, if there's some stuff you think I missed, then be sure to drop it in the comment section below. This is just the beginning of the conversation, and so much more is coming. Drop a like, I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.